Luxury retailers are suffering because the sales of luxury goods are down.
LVMH, the world's biggest luxury group, has seen its stock dragged lower too.
The House of Gucci is losing some of its luxury lead, posted an 11% decline in group sales in the first quarter of this year.
Hi, welcome to Louis Vuitton. Just to let you know, we do not accept EBT here. This is a luxury business. You have a budget range in mind? Oh, sweetie, you're not going to get anything under $500 in this store for a bag.
My horrible experience at Hermès store.
I got kicked out of Chanel before buying this bag. That's the story of how I got kicked out of Chanel, but I'm such a sucker I bought the bag anyway.
I think the real Chanel store in Milan sold me a fake Chanel bag.
I literally had to pull over because I'm so shocked. This is a $7,000 Chanel bag, and it literally fell apart on me today. I was getting my keys out for valet. Tell me why this fell off and this part that holds it in fell off. I don't understand.
What exactly comes to mind when you hear the words luxury or designer? For me personally, it's about high quality, timeless pieces that are handcrafted with care by highly skilled and well-paid artisans. Emphasis on well-paid. It's that 5-star customer service, exclusivity, and attention to every detail. But when you look at many of the popular luxury brands of today, they don't exactly match up to what you would typically regard as a luxury experience. And as a result, the industry is rightfully facing a financial downturn in 2024. There's an overall decline in sales, particularly in the Asian and North American market, which is a huge sector for the luxury industry. In the first quarter of this year alone, the luxury sector has lost a whopping $200 billion in value. That's billion with a B. LVMH is the world's largest luxury group, but that didn't stop them from taking the biggest hit, even with top brands such as Christian Dior, Fendi, and Bulgari under its leadership. But it isn't all losses. There are brands like Miu Miu who are experiencing exponential growth, but their success is more of an exception than the rule. They know this success won't last forever, because new luxury brands often see a spike in sales and loyalty at first, but after a few seasons, they start to fizzle out as customers look for the next big thing. Before we go deeper into this video, it's important to understand the luxury industry and how it operates. Its main selling point is dependent on selling you an image, the perception of exclusivity and opulence. And this is all before they sell you on the actual quality and craftsmanship of the products. But more often than not, the value associated with luxury brands has absolutely nothing to do with using high quality materials or having superior craftsmanship, but rather it's about the perceived status that it gives to those who own it.
Luxury items, to me, it increases my self-esteem and they create a sense of belonging in my closet. I feel like I will maintain this and take care of this more than a $10 t-shirt. This will stay longer with me. It makes me feel good. I feel like other people that are wearing luxury goods also understand where this brand came from. I understand what their brands came from. It just makes me feel good when I walk in the street. It makes me feel good when I go out in public. It makes me feel good when I have a conversation with someone I just met.
And it seems like people are beginning to catch on to the fact that they may be paying more for invisible value rather than tangible value. And there's no one to blame for this shift than these brands themselves, who have underestimated their intended customer base, which is the middle class. Because as we all know, it's not the rich and wealthy that actually buy luxury and designer, it's the middle class and the poor. So in this video, let's look at the ways in which designer brands, who are a part of the luxury fashion industry, have been chipping away at the trust of its most devoted customers. So if you're interested in a topic like this, and without talking too much, then let's get right into it. There is a long-held belief that the reason why designer items are so expensive is because they are handmade in the best environment and by the most skilled people. And yes, to an extent, a lot of the top brands may hand make a few pieces or hand paint them as part of an experience.
Did you know that Louis Vuitton offers complimentary custom painting on any of their trunk purchases? I went into the store the other day to pick something up and saw this guy going to town in such a beautiful, creative way. I was shook. And do you just do the trunks, or do you?
Yeah, so all the trunks can be painted complimentary, and it's really up to the clients to kind of steer the process.
Wow.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dishonesty in the industry about how, where, and who exactly makes these luxury items. It's an unrealistic and also physically impossible task for every item, whether it's bags, shoes, or clothes, to be handmade and sold to millions of customers worldwide. There simply aren't enough highly skilled workers or fancy design studios who can handle that kind of volume. Dana Thomas, a cultural correspondent, explains that luxury fashion used to be all about making the finest handmade pieces for the few people who could afford them. But now it's turned into a global cash cow. Originally, these brands were all about creating custom pieces for local customers. But as the industry grew, the focus shifted from quality to quantity, which was driven by the demands of scaling the business. Basically, since luxury goods are mass-produced for a commercial market, they can't afford to make everything by hand and in the best conditions. But moving back to the current state of luxury fashion, as I mentioned earlier, through clever PR and marketing, luxury brands aim to justify their exorbitant prices by selling us an image. But in 2024, this image was soiled when brands like Armani and Dior, who are known for publicly promoting their superior craftsmanship and quality, were exposed by Italian authorities. It was discovered that they were using factories and the labor of poorly paid workers, all to produce their luxury pieces, with some of the workers even being illegal immigrants. And this is a far cry from what they show on billboards and the impression that they create in their luxury stores.
Cost Dior less than 60 euros to make a handbag that it sells for nearly 3,000 euros. That's what Italian authorities found out when they raided factories making products for Dior and other fashion brands like Armani. The 60 euros does not include raw material and other expenses, but still.
Why does it cost so little? Dior outsources its manufacturing, in this case to companies running workshops in northern Italy. Italian police say the hygiene and health conditions they found in these workshops were not good. In some cases, the workers, who were mostly Chinese migrants, also lived at the factories, and they worked long days, including on weekends and holidays. Police also said safety devices had been removed from machines in order to increase productivity. The workers told police they're paid about 2 euros per hour. That's well below the minimum wage for the sector in Italy. Dior isn't facing any charges over these findings because it's not responsible for the workshops. The court in Milan did criticize Dior for not overseeing its supply chain. People's love for luxury has made the owner of Dior one of the world's richest men, but consumers aren't paying a high price because Dior's handbags are handmade by skilled workers in artisanal Italian workshops. Instead, the company is able to maximize its profits, partly because of labor exploitation. We sent questions to Dior's parent company, the LVMH Group. We've not heard back from them by the time we published this video.
And bag makers on a smaller scale, as well as other industry professionals, came to the consensus that the cost of materials, the time, and the effort that goes into making these bags is nowhere near the inflated price that they're sold for.
So here are my thoughts on the whole Dior scandal as a bag makers. Now, if you don't know, let me just break it down for you. Materials for bags do not make up the price of a bag. If you ever hear a brand saying, oh, it's because of the materials, they're lying in your face. It's all marketing, because it's not. Materials do not cost that much, even good quality materials. For me personally, the most it'll be for materials on a bag like $70, $80 on the higher end. Typically, it's like 40, 50, 60, Now, what makes up the whole price of the bag is the time and labor that goes into making it. But when these companies get away with paying $2 to $3 an hour for the labor, it's exploitation at its finest.
Did you know that Italians care about where their items are produced, so much so that in 2009, they passed a law stating a product can only carry the Made in Italy tag if it's designed, planned, processed, and packaged in Italy. However, the law didn't place any limits on who exactly could do the work, so workers don't exactly have to be Italian or even European. So luxury brands are able to have their cake and eat it too. They do this by promoting their goods as made in Italy, which most people think is made by Italian workers, who have a history and culture of making luxury goods. But in reality, it is actually being made by Chinese owners and factories for a fraction of the cost. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense why these luxury brands are jumping through so many hoops just to save as much money on the dollar as possible. They already have a built-in customer base who is willing and able to spend thousands and sometimes even millions of dollars in merchandise from their stores. So if they really wanted to, they can afford to raise the prices as high as they need to be in order to have everything made by hand, with well-paid and highly skilled workers in the best working conditions. It's just ironic how they embody luxury but are basically just penny pinchers. A major allure of luxury fashion houses is the idea that their products are made in Europe, specifically in Italy, which is seen as the fashion capital of the world. However, behind the scenes, part of the design process, like intricate embroidery work, have been outsourced to Indian artisans since the 1980s. For decades, brands like Dior and Saint Laurent have quietly relied on the expertise of Indian embroiderers. But these brands often did so without offering employment benefits or being transparent about their involvement in a huge part of the design process. But on a more positive note, in 2023, Dior finally decided to acknowledge and celebrate Indian craftsmanship and design by having a fashion show in Mumbai.
Dior's pre-fall 2023 collection traveled to Mumbai for a special runway show, celebrating the rich and ornate tradition of India's craftsmanship culture. And it was an elaborate extravaganza of color, referential prints, and impressive embroidery. These shots are actually from when the collection was originally unveiled in December. But let's delve into today's runway report, staged at Mumbai's Gate of India. Dior creative director Maria Grazia Curie worked directly with local institution Chanaka School of Craft, where she has spearheaded a Dior partnership with Chanaka, whose mandate is to champion the inclusion of women in what traditionally in India is a male-dominated industry, with their female students and workers being offered health insurance, salaries, and childcare options. With Curie noting this wasn't just another traveling fashion show publicity grab, but a true reflection of her nearly 30 years of working on a daily basis with India. First at Valentino and now at Dior. The collection focused on fusing French tailoring with Indian artistry and textile, such as this Madras plaid, which takes its name from the former name of the city of Chennai in the south of the country. Same separates done here in a silk sandung the color of chai latte, which she said was to give all looks a sense of comfort and blur the lines between day wear and evening wear. Capturing Curie's ethos for this collection, spins on sari wrap draping techniques with an epically cajole eyelinered eye. These hot pink tie-dye and solid looks, which featured heavily in the collection and called to mind that famous quote by fashion editor Diana Vreeland when she said, quote, "Fuchsia is the navy blue of India."
But it's not just embroidery that's outsourced. Many luxury brands, including Prada, Burberry, Armani, Dolce & Gabbana, and Miu Miu, have shifted significant portions of their production to China because of its affordability yet high-quality craftsmanship. And by 2019, around 20% of Prada's bags, clothing, and shoes were produced in China. And this is a trend that isn't going to slow down anytime soon because it's a low risk but high reward for these brands. In 2021, Chanel's advent calendar went viral, but not in a good way. After customers started sharing the contents of what was inside, people were both surprised and disappointed by the cheap items inside. This includes pieces like stickers and a dust bag, which was shocking since the retail price for the entire calendar was $825. It was a clear case of the price not matching the value, but something tells me that they thought they could get away with this because of their name, something only a brand like Chanel could get away with. But at least Chanel had company because it wasn't the only brand that was criticized. Dior also put out a $1,000 advent calendar that was full of samples.
This Chanel advent calendar broke the internet last week. I got it as a gift, so let's see what's inside. Hand and body cream, Chanel number 5. If you are a fetus, enough body cream for one leg. Trio of bracelet, keychain, and letter stamp. A flip book. A bracelet that just says number 5. Stickers, temporary tattoos, and iron-on patches. A bookmark clip, a magnet, whatever the hell this is. Bar soap. A charm, a money clip, and someone called the police.
A keychain, the world's smallest glass bottle of number 5, and another one. An ornament-shaped snow globe, a paperweight, a mini red lipstick,
a full-size lipstick, and an empty dust bag.
Another clear example of the price not matching the value is designer jewelry. Luxury jewelry often comes with extremely high markups, sometimes up to 10 times the cost of production and materials. Jewelry has a high resale value if its composition is pure, but spending diamond-level money on a product that is made of stainless steel is a bad investment. And I know that most people don't really care about the true cost of things that they buy, myself included. But if you're buying jewelry made out of precious materials and stones like gold, diamonds, rubies, etc., then shouldn't you make sure that you're getting the full value for that item?
The thing about me is that I love getting fashion jewelry from designer brands, which everyone always tells me not to because fashion jewelry is like gold plated, but it's not real gold, so they always say it's a waste of money. But I don't really care because I love the look of it. This necklace is from Dior. It's a fashion necklace. So it's gold plated, but the little diamonds and the pearls are fake, which makes it a lot cheaper. So I think I only paid like $700 for the necklace. And then my other necklace that I wear all the time is from Louis Vuitton, and it's also a fashion necklace. So again, it's just gold plated.
We all know designer jewelry has a huge markup, but just how big is the markup? Let's find out. Cartier sells this Juice and Clue necklace for $7,400 US. This necklace is made in 18 karat gold. The amount of gold that's actually used is around 5.5 grams. 1 gram of 18 karat gold today is $51 in the US. So the cost of gold on this necklace is around $280 US. Now the necklace also has 0.38 carats of natural diamonds, and you need to take into account the cost of labor and profits for the private jeweler as well. If you were to get this made by a private jeweler using this exact same type of material, same grade of diamonds, this should be costing you around $1,300 US.
The great thing about being a jeweler is that every time I see a great piece like this, I know exactly how much it costs. So today we'll review the material cost of the Pomellato Nudo ring. Let's say the ring is about 12 grams because they're quite hefty. I've already tried it on. So we'll say that it's about 12 grams, which at 50 pounds a gram, it would be around 600 pounds to make the ring. And then let's add the topaz, which is about 9 carat. I mean, topaz is one of the cheapest stones you can buy. I mean, it's practically plastic at this point. So let's say about 60 pounds to, buy the stone. And then we'll add the private jeweler fee and the marketing and the packaging. And that's about 250 pounds, let's say. So the total price is 910 pounds if you bought it at a private jeweler, compared to 3,000 with Pomellato.
You can't just walk into an Hermès store and ask for a Birkin or a Kelly bag, even though they sell them. It might sound weird, but you actually have to play what's called the Hermès games just to get the chance to buy one. And this game involves spending thousands, if not millions of dollars just to prove your loyalty to the brand. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be offered a bag. But even then, there's no guarantee that you'll be offered the exact one that you're after.
In order to get offered an Hermès Birkin or a Kelly directly from the boutique, you have to play what's called the game. And the game is where you pick a sales associate and you spend an enormous amount of money in hopes of getting offered a quota bag. Nobody knows for sure how much money you have to spend in order to get offered a bag. However, I would say you need to spend a minimum of $10,000 to $20,000 before you're even offered a quota bag. And I have heard of some people spending $20,000 plus and not being offered a single quota bag. But let's say you are offered a quota bag. There is a catch. After spending all of that money, it probably won't be the exact bag that you want.
If you've got some kind of game plan to score the bag of your dreams, well, don't even bother, because whether or not you get the bag is completely up to the sales associate. There is no grand panel of fashion experts who sit and decide your fate, and the process isn't exactly fair or reasonable. It really all comes down to how the sales associate feels that day. Are they happy? Are they sad? Do they think you look wealthy, or do they think you don't deserve the bag? So you better hope you catch them on a good day, and maybe, just maybe, they'll take you to a private room at the back of the store and offer you a bag.
How to find an Hermès sales associate. Seems simple, right? Walk into the store, talk to someone, buy whatever you want, walk out. But it's Hermès. When it comes to Hermès, nothing pretty much is simple. A lot of the values of the brand are built on a trust relationship with their clients. So if you want one of these bags, you'll first have to convince Hermès that you are worthy of the famous Hermès Birkin. And that starts by building trust. So when you want to start a relationship with a brand, I recommend going to an Hermès boutique closest to you and just talking to sales associate. Now, don't buy
anything at first. Just talk. Pretend you're going speed dating. Once you finish conducting your interview process and you found the person that you click with, then you can start spending your money and watch this relationship grow and hopefully produce many Birkins.
I was so curious about these sales associates that I went to the Hermès website to try and figure out what exactly are the qualifications or the requirements to get the job. And it's literally just someone who has a minimum of 2 years experience working in other luxury stores, as well as someone who has a passion for retail and is friendly to customers. So it's nothing extraordinary, and they're pretty much like any other retail worker. And what's even more fascinating is that many ultra-wealthy women who could easily afford to play the Hermès game are well known for buying high-quality replicas instead. It's almost like they don't need to prove anything. Everyone already assumes that they can afford the original, so they can get away with not wasting money playing the games. But with all that being said, I will give it up to Hermès as a company for having one of the best marketing strategies of all time. Because if this was any other industry like real estate, and someone said that they wanted to buy a 10-acre ranch, and the real estate agent was like, actually, you have to buy 10 apartments before you get the privilege to buy the house that you really want, not only would the real estate agent be out of a job, but the entire real estate industry would crash. One major complaint that I hear when it comes to the luxury shopping experience is that the customer service is really a hit or a miss, because you're never really sure if you're going to be treated like royalty or like a peasant.
When it comes to luxury shopping, a rude staff can actually increase sales.
I'm not going to name names, but one of the rudest retail experience I've encountered was at Louis Vuitton. I really wanted this bag, so I went into the store, and I kid you not, I was ignored for a good 10 to 15 minutes. To be fair, all the sales associates were serving customers, so I get that they were busy. But there was no acknowledgement or someone will be with you in a sec, none of that at all. Finally, a lady attended to me and showed me the bag. And boy, I swear her coldness was worse than a Siberian winter. It really felt like she didn't care about me. It was almost like she could smell that I wasn't one of those crazy rich Asians and I was just window shopping. Anyway, I got the bag and haven't returned to the boutique since then. And the bag is from spring 2017, so you do the math.
And in this man's experience, he was treated poorly, but he still went ahead and got the bag. So he made the company richer despite being treated so badly. And not to be shady to the people who work in luxury stores, but if you're working there, it likely means that you aren't the target demographic for that luxury brand. So why then do they turn around and judge customers who have the money and are ready to spend it? Is it because they take one look at someone and decide that they are unworthy? But how do they determine if someone is quote-unquote worthy of buying from a store that they don't even own?
And I go into a store, which shall remain unnamed, and I say to the woman, excuse me, may I see that bag right above your head? And she says to me, no, it's too expensive. And I said, no, see the black one, the one that's folded over, and she said, no, you don't want to see that one. You want to see this one because that one will cost too much. You will not be able to afford that. And I said, well, no, I really did want to see that one. And she refused to get it. She refused to get it. And she started to show me these other little bags. And I said, one more time I tried, I said, but I really do just really want to see that one. And she said, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. And I said, okay, thank you so much. You're probably right. I can't afford it. And I walked out of the store. Now, why did she do that?
In Oprah's case, she experienced both poor customer service and racism because they took one look at her and they decided that she wasn't their ideal customer and that she also probably couldn't afford the bag that she had specifically asked for. If Oprah with all her millions of dollars and star power can't even be treated properly and spend her hard-earned money on a bag that she wants, then that should tell you how ridiculous the system actually is. Because why is it such a hassle to give money to a brand that wants your money? But bad customer service in luxury stores has been an issue for decades. And you'd think by now these brands would try to make changes to ensure that every customer is treated well. But it seems like they either don't care or actually believe this approach works for them.
I just arrived in London. We went straight shopping and I was in very casual clothes.
I had a Dior crossbody on and just a t-shirt and jeans, and everybody else in the queue, because there was a queue to get into Chanel, looked like they deserved to be in Chanel better than I did. Whereas I just looked like a middle-aged woman browsing Chanel. And I was treated as such. There was a little Asian lady on the door, and the first thing she said to me was, "Not welcome to Chanel," was, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want to buy a bag. Sit over there." So she pointed me to just a row of chairs at a bar like you get at Louis Vuitton. And I went to browse, and she went, "No, sit there. Someone will fetch you when they're ready." And yet there was a lady about 3-4 stalls down who had an array of bags around her, and they were making such a fuss of her because she looked the part, and I was all in my casual gear. And I said to my husband, this was on my 50th birthday, and I said to my husband, "We're leaving."
There's also Real Housewives of New York cast member Bethenny Frankel, who was treated poorly when she tried to go to a Chanel store. So at least we know that these luxury stores discriminate against everyone pretty equally.
So I'm in Chicago, and the man at the Chanel store opens the door like this much. Like Ratatouille couldn't fit in there. And he's like, "Hello? Do you have an appointment?" Like, he's like Lurch in the Addams Family, like, "You rang?" And I'm already on the offensive, and I'm like, "No, I don't have an appointment. I have a credit card, I have a bag of Garrett's popcorn, a basic bitch purse. Am I not allowed to come in at 3:54 on a Tuesday?" Evidently not. I don't have an appointment. And to be like treated like you're an interloper. Like, I'm just walking down the street, just opening up a door to just walk into a store. I thought that's what happened. Like, I didn't realize that we're not allowed to walk into stores anymore. I don't have an appointment. Got to get a pap smear appointment and also to go walk in Chanel. No big deal. I'm going into Chanel now dressed much differently than I was dressed yesterday. If they let me in because of how I look, Christmas is canceled. Let's do this. Problem today. We're very nice outside.
I understand her posting about it to bring attention to the issue and making lighthearted jokes. But what I don't understand is making a 29-part TikTok series and then offering to collaborate with the brand in a form of a marketing campaign. It just seems a little odd considering that they never addressed how she was poorly treated and they haven't done so since. So why even try to work with a company that doesn't feel it's necessary to even offer you something as simple as an apology?
Okay, Chanel, everyone is asking, have you reached out? To which I reply, no, they haven't, but what a marketing opportunity. So I propose that you allow me to invite a group of deserving Chanel fans who would never get the opportunity to be spoiled in a Chanel store the way that you would want them to be, as year-round supporters of the brand, from the least expensive product that you have to the fragrances and the real workhorses that keep your stores alive. In addition, I think we should do a generous giveaway for brand supporters also who would not get the opportunity to own a very special Chanel piece. What do you think? Let's do it. Also, you let me troll you in a humorous way.
I've also seen a lot of videos where some people talk about being treated badly in a store, yet they still buy something anyway. Either it's because they really wanted the item, or they felt like proving something to the rude sales associate. But what they don't realize is that by making that purchase, they are putting money directly into the sales associate's pocket since they work on commission. So while the customer service might be bad or inconsistent, it's clearly working because people keep coming back and spending all their hard-earned money. And I'm sure these brands are laughing all the way to the bank. I feel like there should be a whole video dedicated to Balenciaga, because there's just so much this company has said and done, but let's just settle for a section in this video. Let's first start off with what they are most known for, which is their weird fashion. And I know that fashion is supposed to be subjective, but I can objectively say that a lot of their stuff is just weird looking, and it's not really practical or functional, and in terms of aesthetics, it's not really that pretty either.
And today we're taking the £695 Balenciaga towel skirt for a test drive. You'd probably be surprised to hear that not too many people noticed I was wearing a towel out in public, and this skirt is pretty close to the towel that you would have used after your morning shower. I guess you could say it's a handy look for when you're rushing out the front door.
Would you wear pieces covered in sellotape? For Fall Winter 24, Balenciaga showed items that appear to be two separate pieces sellotaped together. The pieces are actually one fully constructed garment sold without tape altogether. The tape is sold separately, allowing consumers to add it themselves as a styling choice. Would you wear this?
So no one really asked for these, but here we are. Balenciaga's new shoes are completely destroyed and they're pretty expensive. For $1,850,000. Yep, that's not a typo. You can own the dirty limited edition shoes in high tops or mules. That's the equivalent of rent in some places. The shoes have caused some controversy, with some admiring the bold statement and others seeing it as, to state a Twitter user, the ultra-rich cosplaying pure.
But that's just the fashion, and you could say that it's based on preferences. But what about the constant controversy that they are in? For example, they had a runway show where the models were carrying realistic-looking babies made out of dolls.
Got Papa, baby. I don't know how to hold a baby.
Baby.
Her name is Lola.
Oh my God. Daddy.
I'm the baby daddy. I'm the real daddy.
Give me the baby. Give me the baby.
They're giving the baby back. Did you name Lola? Or
yeah, me.
Okay. Are you keeping your baby?
No.
I can't. I'm keeping my baby. I'm keeping my baby. Sorry, Damna.
I feel like if this was any other fashion brand, maybe people would make the excuse that they were being experimental. But Balenciaga seems to have this pattern of being inappropriate with the way that they mix children into their fashion. And don't forget that it was only 2 years ago that they had one of the worst marketing campaigns in recent history. They did multiple photo shoots with kids holding teddy bears dressed in bondage.
So, there's been an interesting update to all the controversy surrounding Balenciaga. The luxury brand is now suing their production company and their set designer behind this recent campaign, which has been copying some pretty intense backlash online. The first photo shoot featured kids alongside teddy bears dressed in what appears to be bondage gear. And another photo shoot released around the same time showed a handbag on top of a pile of documents, which turned out to be a court ruling on child pornography. So Balenciaga issued a lengthy apology for both campaigns. They said their plush bears should never have been photographed with children, but also that the court documents were included without their knowledge. Now, despite this, Balenciaga are pressing ahead with the lawsuit. It's worth a whopping 37.6 million US dollars. That's 25 million Australian. This story isn't over yet. Watch this space. There's going to be a lot more to come out of this.
Having kids to hold teddy bears that are dressed in BDM clothing, that is absurd.
If you need a refresher about the controversy surrounding Balenciaga, go watch that creator's video. He does a really good job of breaking it down. I've been vocal for a long time about my general distaste towards Balenciaga and their advertisement techniques, but what really gets me is they're claiming it was unapproved items for the campaign. The document you see here is text taken from the Ashcroft versus the Free Speech Coalition and the use of children holding BDSM teddy bears in their ad campaign. Now, if you've ever been on set, the layers that go into casting, set design, curation, it's crazy. It takes months and hundreds of people to put these sets together. None of this was unintentional, none of it. And if you're familiar with Balenciaga, you know that this is just what they do. They like pushing boundaries. They like teetering on the edge of inappropriate, but with this, they just fell right off the edge. I think they are a brand that gets off on this kind of attention, and it honestly helps them stay relevant. Yes, sometimes we talk about Balenciaga clothes, accessories, etc., but it's usually the controversy and deeper meanings to what they're doing is what drives conversation. That was absolutely part of the intent with this campaign. Set designers, stylists, etc. definitely had a brief. They followed the brief. Balenciaga is a top brand. There's no way something like that could fall through the cracks. There's just no way. There's too many people involved, too many professionals involved for a mistake like that to happen. Never mind the casting. Let's talk about that for a minute. They intentionally casted children knowing that this was the set. It's not an accident. Anyone who's ever been on a set, from a PA to a director, knows this.
This is going to be my unpopular opinion, but I really hate brands, especially luxury ones, that make clothes and other apparel that look like something a homeless person would have no choice but to wear. And Balenciaga takes it a step further, not even in terms of their clothes, but they actually made a store where they had dirty mattresses stacked on top of each other. And it's giving everything but luxury.
I was in the Balenciaga flagship store here in Miami about mid-November before all of this went down, and I was looking at the interior design and thinking, this is kind of ugly and gross. And I know that's what the brand does. Being educated in art and design, I understand that there's a line of pushing buttons and bringing out emotions with art. But I also don't love things that are just kind of gross and not that beautiful, especially in the luxury scene. So this whole space looks very, very unfinished. I showed my husband, who's a designer, and he literally thought that they didn't have enough time to finish the space. But I realized it is about the reaction. But what is that line? Can you tell me where art and where design, and I know we're in this dystopian era, but where do they fit together? And are we emerging into a new era of just absolute beauty? Because with every trend, there's a reaction. There's a move in the opposite direction. So is it going to be dirty mattresses now and then something very joyful and beautiful later?
I get that everyone has their own aesthetic, but why would you want to have an aesthetic of something that looks intentionally worn out, old, and dirty? If you really want to go for that quote-unquote homeless look, then you can just wear your own stuff and let it become that way naturally. Or you can cut it up or dirty it up yourself. And if you feel that you can't achieve that look for yourself naturally, then go ahead and buy it, but not from a brand that would sell it to you for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Same. The youth of today. It boggles my frigging mind. There's a company that literally makes sneakers look old and worn.
Mm-hmm. Honey, we buy ripped jeans with holes and yeah.
Why don't you just buy my old sneakers?
By far one of the worst things that luxury brands do is burn millions of dollars worth of unsold merchandise. They claim it's to protect the brand's prestige, but honestly, there's no justification for that act. Think about it. They are destroying perfectly good clothes when there are so many people in need. And I can understand if they don't want to give out merchandise that is full of their brand logo. But what about all the plain clothing with zero branding? All they would have to do is to remove the tag, or at the very least, they should come up with some kind of recycling system so that nothing is ever destroyed. Instead, it's repurposed to make new items.
Last year alone, the high-end fashion line reportedly charged more than $33 million in clothes, accessories, and perfume. The brand destroys the item rather than put them on sale or at a discount. The company calls the seemingly wasteful method a way to control brand authenticity. Burberry says it saves the energy captured in its massive product burns. Wow.
There's also the environmental impact with all that waste and pollution. And burning merchandise made of cotton, polyester, leather, and plastic is only speeding up the process of global warming and climate change. Burberry, for example, made headlines for burning over $37 million worth of unsold products in 2018 alone. And why did they do that? Because they didn't want to discount the items or see them fall into the hands of resellers. But this kind of practice just shows how little these brands actually care about anything beyond maintaining an image. If this was a small industry full of barely profitable brands, maybe I would be more understanding. But the luxury fashion industry has had decades of experience and access to billions of dollars, and they still refuse to evolve in a more sustainable and ethical way. Let's take a look at award shows, and don't worry, I have a point. The Grammys and Oscars are just awards, subjective ones at that, and we've seen plenty of exposés showing how flawed the voting system is. Yet every year, celebrities campaign for wins, fans use these awards as bragging rights for their favorites, and to also mock those who haven't won. Deep down, we know that winning doesn't always reflect talent, hard work, or success, nor does it capture someone's true impact on pop culture. But even so, we still care. And it's not because of the award itself, but because of what we feel it represents: success, recognition, and validation. And it's the same thing with luxury designer goods. our desire for them isn't always logical. We know that it's just a bag, necklace, or a shirt, and owning it won't suddenly make us powerful, happy, or successful. But we still want it anyway. And again, it's because of what we feel it represents, even if it means stretching our pockets just to get it. And this point is perfectly exemplified when you look at the replica market. If it were only about craftsmanship, people would stick to buying the originals from these luxury brands. But instead, they choose to buy replicas because it's cheaper, and they still get to project the image of luxury and receive the recognition that comes with being able to afford it.
The really good quality fakes are upstairs. This one, how much is this one?
600.
So this is the mini Kelly. How much is the picnic?
This is like 750.
Wow. That is crazy. Hold them side by side. How much is this one? How much is it?
It's 280.
Bottega earring. Bottega earring. Love Bottega.
Amazon, $20. Go get them. Like, they look so expensive. They look identical to the real ones. There's no seam. They're so lightweight. Look how good they look. These are the
Rep ladies, the wealthy New York socialites who love their fake designer bags. This was a very interesting article published by The Cut in April this year. All these super rich Manhattan women that have massive Birkin collections, houses in the Hamptons and overseas, who fly on private jets, are suddenly obsessed with luxury replica bags. So all these women are disclosing that they usually own, let's say, 4 authentic Birkins and 3 fake ones. One of the women who's interviewed for the article said that she used to get these fake designer bags in Tupperware parties where another wealthy reseller will sell all these reps out of her Tribeca penthouse. That was until she discovered Rep Ladies, a subreddit dedicated to luxury replica bags and accessories, where all these wealthy women go to buy their counterfeit items and share their tips on how to communicate in Chinese with suppliers in China, avoid getting doxxed, and finding the best hidden factories in China. The replicas are obviously exquisite, and you can buy anything from croc skin Birkins to classic flap Chanels for 1 to 10% of the price. One of the rep ladies put in a post that replicas take a shit on the "you can't sit with us" mentality of designer bags. And it became almost like a sport or a competition of who finds the best replica bags in the market, the thrill of the hunt, despite being able to afford hundreds of authentic bags. One woman even said, "The bag is fake, but the owner is real." It's no secret that luxury items are status symbols, and in my opinion, to be able to wear a replica bag is a wealth privilege. Because if you're flying on your private jet and spending the holidays in your Lake Como property, no one would assume you are carrying a fake. And if people found out you were in fact wearing a fake bag, they probably wouldn't judge you as badly as they judge someone from a lower class wearing her fake Louis Vuitton bag on the bus. It's almost like the wealthier you are, the less you have to worry or care about the authenticity of your items. So all these millionaires showing off their fake bags are not in crisis or out of their minds. They simply figured out that they can maintain their status and show off their designer items, paying a quarter of the price they used to.
It's very easy to blame the wealthy or the elite for controlling and influencing society, but a lot of people actually buy into the system all by themselves. For example, I see a lot of praise and admiration for old money, while new money gets criticized for being too flashy or for lacking class.
One of the many things that working at a country club has taught me is how to spot old money versus new money a mile away. Okay, new money is tacky, it's gaudy. They're flaunting every name brand that you've heard of. Maybe they have a couple Louis Vuitton bags. Maybe they have an Hermès bag. Maybe, potentially. Does that mean they have style? Absolutely not. Will they tip you? Yeah, in front of their friends or in front of business partners, in front of people that can see exactly how much they're tipping you. It might be a good tip, but it's not consistent. Okay, and again, terrible style, typically. Not always the women, always the men. Old money, however, classy style, but you might not even know what they're wearing because you've never laid eyes on something as nice as what they're wearing, okay? You're not going to understand what it is. You've never heard of the brand, even if you ask them where it's from. You're going to look it up and it's going to be like, oh, invite only. You can't even touch these clothes unless you're a billionaire. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean.
New money is typically earned through individual effort, such as entrepreneurship or success in your industry like entertainment or sports. Old money, however, is wealth that is passed down through generations, and it's often built on exploitation, such as slavery and stolen land. Despite this knowledge, society often views old money as more refined and classy, showing that we've internalized the idea that wealth equates to character, regardless of how it's acquired. At the end of the day, people want to fit in. It's human nature to want to show that you're successful, and the ultimate markers of success have always been wealth and power. And what better way to do it than walking around with a bag on your arm that cost as much as a house? So should you keep buying? Well, no, but also yes. If you like the item and it's also made of premium materials, and you're actually getting value for your money, and not just the perception of quality or luxury, then definitely go ahead and make that purchase.
Where does your money actually go when you buy luxury products? In the global luxury market, ruled by corporate greed, there is an exception that stands alone. They make everything in Italy, they make it good, and they do good. I'm talking about Brunello Cucinelli, also known as the King of Cashmere. The production is entirely Italian, they pay their taxes on time, they pay their suppliers fairly, and they pay their employees up to 40% more than the Italian minimum wage. So if the minimum monthly salary for a seamstress in Italy is 1,300 euros, at Cucinelli it's at least 2,300. A few years ago, the company invested 100 million euros in renovating the village near Perugia where the company is based. Cucinelli built a theater, an academy, a library, and a soccer field for the local kids. They also purchase old abandoned warehouses, tear them down, and transform them into farmland. In 2020, they invested 3 million euros in a small startup in Perugia researching rare diseases, where no one else invests, especially not Big Pharma, as it's not profitable enough. Cucinelli is an excellent example of a rare reality in luxury, where profit isn't entirely accumulated for the ownership, but it's instead used as a welfare tool both for the workers and the community. So the prices are crazy high, but the quality is there, and at least you know that there is a give back to the community. You always have a choice, even in luxury. Choose well.
But if the quality is bad and you're only buying it for the brand name, you really have to ask yourself, why burn money on something that offers no real value or functionality, especially if you can't afford it or don't even like it?
Don't let luxury fashion use Shein as a scapegoat. Loro Piana is the ultimate quiet luxury brand. Worn by celebrities and featured on Succession, a coat will set you back $34,000 US. But a high price tag does not mean good ethics. Loro Piana is owned by LVMH, which is helmed by the richest billionaire on the planet. Loro Piana uses incredibly fine vicuña wool from the Peruvian Andes. The local indigenous community of Lucanas has been herding and shearing vicuña fiber for centuries, and 30 years ago, Loro Piana became their sole customer. For a vicuña fiber sweater priced at $9,000, the local community received $280 for the equivalent amount of fiber. This means that many of the workers don't get paid a dime and are expected to work for free for a man who is worth $202 billion. In a statement, Loro Piana said that they are committed to upholding the highest standards of ethical and responsible business practices. And by that, they mean modern-day slave labor.
I think the real Chanel store in Milan sold me a fake Chanel bag. Okay, she's really pretty. She's this like little pearl top, but here's the first thing I noticed. So there's this very blurry made in Italy stamp. You can see it's like fading. And I was looking online and no other bag has a stamp in this place. Second, there's no Chanel on this button, which usually every piece of hardware has the logo in some way on it. Also, I know their quality has gone down, but this zipper feels really, really cheap. Like it seems like something that would be on like a Hanes sweatshirt. I don't know if you can tell in the video. And then lastly, it's just the stitching is just, it's not amazing. Like it's good, but it just like looks a little weird in some spots.
And with that being said, this does bring me to the end of my video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. These are just my thoughts, and I'd love to know yours down in the comment section below. I also want to say a huge thank you because I recently got to 7,000 subscribers, and I can't believe that I'm closer to 10,000 subscribers than I am to 1,000. And I'm just super grateful and thankful that every single one of you is here. But anyways, remember to like this video, it really helps with the algorithm. If you enjoyed this one, then kindly check out some of my other videos, and subscribe for more content on the way. Again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in my next video.